good morning. Hi there, good to see you. Well, I'm Kim Ware and I'm your instructor. So I think maybe we could hang out for like another minute or so and see if other people come on. So I see TJ, is that your name?
No, that's my son's name. I'm trying to figure out how to change it. My name's Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi.
I know how to do this.
Okay.
Let me see here. If you just like click on your name, it will pop up like a list, and at the bottom it says rename. Oh. And then is it Isha or Isha?
Aisha.
Isha with a long E?
An I.
I know I, but the sound is a long E.
No, it's I. Aisha.
Aisha. Oh, good. Okay, got it. Thank you. Hi, Maren. Good morning. Oh, it's evening. Where are you, Maren? Germany. The only word I know is 9. Oh, well, good evening. Have you eaten dinner and everything? Nice. Okay, so, well, let's just go ahead and get this show on the road. I show that it's 2 after, and other people can pop in. The beginning isn't as important as the rest of it. So my goal this morning is just to, yes, especially if you have kids, 9. Anyway, my goal this morning is to just give you an overview of the course, share a little bit about me, get to know you, tell you expectations, and then develop a working vocabulary for the words we're going to be using throughout the course, because they can be used in so many different ways. So I want to put them in the context of communication ethics, because you might be like, what in the world am I studying? What am I doing? And why do I need to take this course? So those are the things I want to flesh out for you this morning. We are recording, just so you know, so that other people can see it. So just a little bit about me. My name is Kim Ware. I've been teaching at Bryan for about 4 years now. I've been teaching overall in the collegiate sphere for over 15 years in the field of human communication. My sweet spot is teaching communication ethics. I really like teaching interpersonal communication as well as small group communication. Of course, I'm qualified to teach every other communication course, like public speaking, intercultural communication, organizational communication. But I really, really like teaching about things that impact our everyday life, which of course all communication does, but particularly here, this course has applications to your personal life and your professional life, especially as you're living through different seasons of life, because we're always changing and we're always developing and practicing communication. I have 4 kids. My oldest is 15 and my youngest is 7, a girl and 3 boys. Is our house crazy and loud? Yes, it is. I will never get new furniture because our house is kind of a playground, and I'm totally cool with that. I also homeschool them. So that means I tend to do most of my work for Bryan and teaching in the afternoon and in the evening. Sometimes I can squeeze stuff in like earlier in the day, but generally if you've sent me a message or something, or you have a question, I will not answer it until sometime after 3. That's when I tend to work. So that's me. So I thought it'd be neat then just to hear a little bit about you, your name, what you're studying here at Bryan, and how you got interested in this field. So your name, what you're studying, and how you got interested. So Melissa was the first one on here that I saw. So I'm going to ask Melissa to start off for us.
Hi, I'm Melissa. I am getting my bachelor's degree in, they just changed it. I think it's fitness, nutrition, and management.
Okay.
And I got interested in this probably about 3 years ago. And I had some up and downs in my life, but I knew I didn't want to quit getting my degree. So here I am. And I'm like you, I have 4 kids also, but I'm the reverse. I have 1 son and 3 daughters.
Okay.
Yeah.
So whereas my house is full of wrestling, your house might be full of emotions. Yeah. Cool.
Yes, ma'am. I've got 3 teenagers. So oh yeah,
You are in
it's
a fire.
yep.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. Thanks for sharing. Okay, Aisha, would you mind sharing with us?
So my name's Aisha. I am as Melissa, getting my BA in fitness. Um, I retired from the military and was really interested in the whole fitness aspects, continuing it on. So that's why I joined that program. I'm a mother of 2 boys, 20, and the other one just turned 17 yesterday. So yeah, that's me.
Okay, so you're a few years ahead of me in the child raising. And thank you so much for your military service. What branch were you in?
I was Air Force for 20 years.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's amazing. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, and then next up we have Marin. Hi, Marin.
Hi. Oh, well, yeah, so I did my undergrad for personal trainer through Brian and my associates already. So now I'm trying to get my bachelor, and then hopefully I can have my own little gym here. I have 2 kids, a boy and a girl, 7 and 5,
Awesome.
and I have 2 fur babies. Yeah. Well, I
And
was
so,
born in,
yes, go ahead. That's what I was going to ask.
yeah, I was born and raised in Germany, but my husband is American, so he was in the army for 23 years. So now he's a retiree and works as a civilian here in Germany.
Wonderful. That's awesome. Thank you also for your service as a military spouse and for your husband. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So are your kids bilingual?
Yes, yes.
That's awesome, man. Okay, so the other thing about Germany is that my grandpa served in Germany, and I'm pretty sure all he came home with were curse words. So I do know German in that. And sometimes they come out and I'm like, oh, I don't think that was very nice to say. So I'll try to refrain. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what most people learn first.
Well, thanks for sharing. I appreciate that. And hi, Melvin. So we're just sharing what you're doing here at Brian and how you got interested in the program and anything else you'd like to share about yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. My name is Melvin. I'm from New York, and I wanted to be a physical education teacher for a really long time. So I thought this would be a great avenue to do that. I have 3 children, 3 girls, 2 teenagers, and 1 8-year-old. And something about me, um, I like gyros. I don't know.
Okay. Yes, me too. Let's go out and get some. That sounds good. Awesome. Okay. So, Melvin, when you say a physical education teacher, are you thinking a particular age range or just anyone?
Here in New York, you can get K through 12 or kindergarten through elementary. Options open.
Okay.
So I'll do K through 12.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. And then Marla's driving, so I won't ask you to drive and talk at the same time, but just know that we're glad that you're here. And let's move on now and talk more about the course overview and get the broad view, and then we'll shrink down a little bit. So in weeks 1 through 4, basically any course you take, you have to start with foundation unless it's part 2 of a course, and then you'll do a little bit of review and then you'll get going. But in weeks 1 through 4, we're going to learn 4 primary systems for communication ethics that will help undergird our further application of these topics. And within learning about these systems, which I'm going to cover in a few slides, we're going to look at a bunch of different theorists, philosophers, and a whole lot more. So you may have seen my announcement already, but we're using this textbook, Communication or Communicating Ethically. And in the front, it says character, duty, consequences, and relationships. And those are the systems that we're going to be covering. And Dr. Nair was actually one of my instructors in my undergrad at Butler. So I know him, and he is a very smart, very kind man. And it's a real pleasure for me to be able to teach out of a book that he wrote. And he goes way, way back to early theorists, early philosophers, people like Kant and Buber, and just really smart people. And I think sometimes he gets a little bit wordy as he's writing. So if you started listening or trying to read any of it, just know that he gives fantastic summaries at the end of each chapter. So if you start to get lost in the reading, skip to the summary and then go back to the reading. And then he has written some fabulous case studies for application to help us see how these things actually work together in real life. So that's our textbook. That's weeks 1 through 4. In weeks 4 through 8, then we're going to look at applying them into particular fields. So communication ethics and interpersonal communication, which is communication between 2 people, looking at different cultures. He also is going to look at various strands of human communication. So in the field of human communication, people can focus in very particular areas. So like for me, I have a master's in human communication with an emphasis in performance studies, because in my undergrad, I did a bunch of fine arts work. And so that was really interesting to me. But people look at rhetoric, which is the way words are put together. People look at mass communication, so the field of journalism, organizational communication, looking at the way organizations are structured and how we do that. So we're going to do some deeper dives into those areas in weeks 4 through 8. Do you have any questions about that? No. Okay, good. So those are the topics. Now let's talk a little more about course expectations and the structure of the course. So you may have already noticed that announcements are key. I don't post anything in the announcements that are like fluffy or non-important. So make sure you check those announcements, particularly related to mini lessons. I'm going to give you throughout the course just some YouTube videos of other people. So it's not just me talking at you all the time, explaining some of the concepts that we are looking at. Also, just a heads up, hey, Yellow Dig is happening. Make sure you get over there. Hey, you have an assignment due. Make sure you're looking at it, that sort of thing. Sometimes if I start to see, okay, now also Com 315 is a new course at Bryan. So it was literally just developed. It's hot off the press. It's super exciting, but there may be some moments where I'm like, oh, I don't think they're quite understanding what I'm asking them to do. So I'll post something on the announcements to clearly explain what needs to be happening. Along with that, related to assignments, I give very detailed feedback. Some people love it, some people don't, but I think you should love it because I'll tell you exactly what you need to do to fix your assignments. That's the best thing about Bryan, especially in a bachelor's program, is that you can literally graduate with a 4.0. It's not that hard because I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do in this class anyway to fix your assignment so that you can resubmit for mastery. And then you can resubmit for mastery as many times as you want to. So do that. Graduate with the 4.0 if you can. And sometimes people are like, that doesn't really matter. Like, why would anyone care on a resume? They're just bragging about themselves. But I can tell you from this station in life that seeing someone who has come out of college and who has a high GPA tells me that they have the work ethic to see something through from beginning to end, doing their very best work. So I'm encouraging you, and I know life gets crazy busy, but do your best to do these assignments and do them well. So like, what about assignments? You will notice, and I want to pull up the course calendar. So I'm going to stop sharing for just a second and share a different screen, that you don't have an assignment due every week. So here, I know, yay. But that being said, the assignments are kind of involved. So you should start them on the off week that an assignment is due. So this week, you have one assignment that's due. It's just an introduction to communication ethics. And that's basically solidifying what communication ethics are and just making sure that right away you are able to demonstrate a working knowledge of what we're doing. So now let me go to the next month. Okay, so you'll see here then May 1st, you just have Learn It's due. And then you have assignment 2 due. But you should start assignment back here in this week on May 1st. Or no, excuse me. You should start it right here on the 25th after you finish. I mean, if you want to give yourself a breather day, fine, I get it. Start here on the 27th. So you give yourself plenty of time. At least be looking at the assignment so that you aren't caught off guard here on Saturday, May 7th, when you're like, holy cow, this assignment is way more involved than I thought. I should have spent more time. And keep in mind, it's a 300 level course. So this isn't 100 level anymore. And I'm not sure what work you've been doing up to this point, but it's really exciting to see people move. You get to the end of your 102 level courses, and then we really start hitting the exciting part in 300 and 400 level courses, where you are like explaining the why for everything you've been learning up to this point. So it's great time. Here, assignment 3 is Dave. Have you seen the film Dave? It was done back in the 1990s. Great film. It's funny, but you're going to get to watch that movie and then apply communication concepts from communication ethics to the film. So that's just a heads up. I'll always post Yellow Dig Sparks here on Monday. You should really get rocking and rolling with those on Wednesday. And I'm going to talk more about Yellow Dig in just a second. So let me go back to my nifty PowerPoint. I don't want to play it from start. I want the slideshow. Okay. So that's where this whole idea of time management is really key. Most successful students tell me that they manage their time. They map out what they're doing for the week, or at least for the day. And whereas we are all non-traditional students, and I'm a non-traditional teacher, we have to time manage in order to make things happen, because life can get away from us. The day can get away from us. I know for myself, if I don't get stuff done, like the most important things done by like 11 o'clock, definitely by 2 o'clock, it's all downhill for me, because I'm an early riser, early to bed kind of girl. So I am tired by 4 o'clock and kind of ready to throw in the towel, but I don't, because I have to grade your assignments. So just make sure you're time managing. One thing that I think works really well is doing time boxing. Have you heard of that? Time boxing. So time boxing is where you set a timer and you say, okay, for 15 minutes, I'm not doing anything else but this. It even works with household chores. Okay, guys, for 10 minutes, we are going to do nothing but fold laundry. No one is going to look at their phone. No one, and if you're doing an assignment or you're doing Yellow Day, no other screens can be open. We can't go over here real quick and check out TikTok, okay? So we got to stay where we are, and just set that timer and start small so that you can train yourself to do it. Yeah, 2 clocks in the ring, time boxing. There you go. So, start with 5 minutes. For 5 minutes, I'm not going to do anything else but work on this Learn It. And when the 5 minutes are up, I'm going to give myself permission to look at another screen or to get up. but try that out and see if it helps you. And then writing expectations for this course are just that you write the best that you can. I'm not grading you based on your ability to write. This is not an English class, although I do expect, capital letters and punctuation and paragraphs. But the most important thing to me is I need to be able to see that you understand the concept and that you can apply the concept. So if you're a note taker, I'm going to give you a quick formula for how to write that will be helpful for you. If you've had me in interpersonal, you know this formula, but whenever you look at a question, if you see more than 2 question marks in the prompt, it's a really good clue that you have more than one topic you're writing about, and so you're going to need more than one paragraph. So always take those questions and transform them into your topic sentences. So what are the mini lessons in communication ethics? How am I supposed to write about those mini lessons? Which you're not doing in this course, but that's 2 questions, right? So I would say the mini lessons in this course are, and then I would write about that. And then I would say to write for the mini lessons, you would do it this way. So those are your 2 topic sentences. Then give the concept, define the concept. So never think that I know that you know what you know. I don't. And in communication classes, especially, they are notorious for using common sense terms that could mean anything. But I don't know that you know what they mean in the context of this course. So make sure that after you give the topic sentence, you're giving the concept, you're defining the concept, and then you're giving an example. Nearly all the questions that you are writing will have specific examples required. So do that, and you're gonna be perfect for this class. Any questions about assignments, time management, assignment expectations, writing expectations? No? Okay, good. So my turn time is about 72 hours. Do we have to summarize like for the live events? No, if that's what you're talking about. Yeah, it depends on the question. If I just need to see that you understand the concepts and you can apply them. If you want to get write really well, yeah, a concluding sentence is always good. But let's just see how everybody goes with their writing. Some people will be there and some people won't. I just need to know you understand the concepts. So let me know if that answers it or not. Regarding these live events, this is a part of like your prereq to finishing your degree. So we don't have live courses every week. Say that to yourself. There are no classes every week. There are no classes every week. There's not. We have 2. We have 1 right now, and we have 1 in a couple weeks, and that's it. And I can't make you be here, and I can't give you credit for being here, but it's just really good information. So you don't have to summarize it after you listen to the recording if you're listening to the recording right now. Anyway, my turn time is 72 hours. Brian gives me 5 days to get your assignments back to you, but I really don't care to let them sit there that long. If you do notice it's like been 4 days since you submitted your assignment and I haven't graded it yet, it's because I'm bogged down, especially those middle parts and those ends of semesters. If I've got classes that are overlapping, then I'm getting, an influx of final assignments and reflections and this other classes work. So I'll definitely have it graded within 5 days, but usually I don't need that long. So Yellow Dig is also part of this class. I think that sometimes, depending on what class you're taking, Yellow Dig could be a real drag, but not in communication because I like to keep it super fun. Yeah, are you saying yes, it can be a real drag, Melvin?
Oh, no, I love Yellow Dig. It's awesome.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah. Well,
my question for you was actually in terms of the live meets. If we miss the live meet, will they be recorded for future use?
Yeah, great question. Yes, I will be recording those and posting them in the announcements within about 24 hours of recording. Yeah, great question. Yeah, so some people love Yellow Dig, some people love to hate Yellow Dig. I try to meet people in the middle and make it so it's not a drag. It doesn't feel like an extra thing that you have to do. So I will throw out several prompts to help you out with being able to answer those. Yellow Dig is important though, because it really helps you network and flesh out ideas. And especially in an online forum, it can feel very lonely. Like you're doing this by yourself and you're not. And Yellow Dig is a great way to help with that. It's also good for networking because you're forming relationships throughout your time at Bryan through Yellow Dig with other students. And like, for instance, we've got like 3 people here, 4, who are looking at something in physical education or in exercise and fitness. And you just never know when someone's going to have a job opening, or you're going to have a job opening and you are going to need to fill a position. You'll like, oh yeah, I remember that person at Bryan and we gelled really well together. I wonder if they would be interested in a job. And they're good for it because they did the same classes that you did. So if nothing else, think of Yellow Dig as a networking opportunity to sort of flex those kinds of muscles. So let me now just move on to the fun part. Let's talk about communication and communication ethics. If you are watching a clock, I think we'll be visiting for about 10 to 15 more minutes, so that, if you've got family around you or something, you've got other things to get to. That's what we're doing. So I think it's really good, before we dive into communication ethics and what those are, is just to do a quick refresher of some of the key terms that you would have covered in earlier courses. One is just the transactional model of communication. We are communicating every day, all day long, whether we need to or not. One of the fun things we like to debate in communication courses is, can we really not communicate? No, I don't think we can not communicate, because we have all these things going on that are sending signals. And really, communication is the process of making meaning and making sense out of the world. When we look at the transactional model of communication, we have an encoder and a decoder, and we're simultaneously both. We're encoding messages in a way that we hope other people or another person can understand. And then we're taking that and we're decoding, we're unraveling this message that someone else has sent to try to figure out what they mean, how they mean it. So as sender and receiver, then we are doing these in various contexts that impact this co-creation of meaning. So we have the social context, that is like, what relationship do we have, and are we in a formal setting or an informal setting? Moving up to physical and psychological context, like what's actually going on right now in my physical body as I'm communicating, and also in my brain. And we're going to talk more about the brain in just a second. The cultural context is, are we in the United States? Are we in Germany? Do we have an individualistic culture where it's very focused on the one person? It's all of life is all for me. Or the collectivistic culture, where it's it's the group is the most important thing. You are part of a group and the group is the most important. And then that relational context. Are we friends? Are we a boss and a coworker? Are we coworkers? Are we family? And all that stuff plays into the communication that we do all day, every day. Those little noise things that you see there are these things that play in that can disrupt our communication. So the coffee pot going, a stomach that is hungry, other people talking at you, your phone dinging or ringing with messages coming in. We're just bombarded with noise that we have to filter through all the time. So that's the transactional model of communication. Do you have any questions about that? No? Okay. So let's move on then to, I think, something else that is really important that I want you to remember as you are sifting through communication ethics is the idea of attitudes, beliefs, and values. These are things that are formulated in us from the moment that we're born, and they're cultivated over time. So as we approach new ideas, as we approach different ways of thinking, the way that we perceive them is informed by our attitudes, beliefs, and values. So your attitudes, these are things that are learned. Like do I like something or do I not like something? Do I like ice cream or do I not like ice cream? We don't get born knowing whether or not we're going to love ice cream. We taste it and then we're like, oh, this is good. Oh, everyone else around me likes ice cream. I like ice cream, right? So like think about your family too. Are there particular foods that your family doesn't like? How do they learn not to like those? And sorry, I am a bit of a foodie and I really like food. So a lot of my examples might relate to food. So we could do it with things like exercise too. Are there people in your life who love to run? Are there people who hate running and prefer weightlifting? How did they learn that they loved or they hated running? They had to learn it somehow. So those are attitudes. Beliefs are the way that we structure reality. So think of this in terms of true and false. An easy one to go to, is there a God? Is there not a God? And whether or not you believe whether there is a God or not a God, or whatever like religious belief you have, is going to structure the way that you look at the world, the way that you do your everyday life. You could think about it in terms of, are there seasons or are there not seasons? Is there really a summer or is there not because of where you live? I don't know. That's a very far-reaching example, but true and false. Now, values these are like core and central. So it kind of goes values, beliefs, attitudes, if you're thinking about the way that these function. Your values, man, they are in you. It is your enduring concept of what is right or wrong, what is good or bad. And this is really where we have the rub with communication ethics, because as we're going to learn in just a minute, ethics explores right behavior versus wrong behavior. So keep attitudes, beliefs, and values in mind as we move into this field of communication ethics. So any questions about those? Okay, cool. So now let's visit about some definitions. We've talked about the communication model. Communication is basically the transmission of messages. So we're co-creating meaning when we communicate. Now this word ethics, I think is really super interesting because when I looked it up on dictionary.com, it says it is a system of moral principles. Does anyone know what that means? No, I don't think most people know what that means. So then when we look at definitions that we don't understand, we need to break down the words to understand them. So let's talk about a system. So when you think of a system, what do you think about?
Order.
Order. Okay. So like a set of what? Like action.
Structure.
What?
Structure.
Structure. Okay. So now let's talk about the word moral. And if you want to look up the word moral, you can. Somebody look up moral or give me an answer. What is moral? What does that mean?
Beliefs or values.
Beliefs or values. Now see, those are key words. What are beliefs and values?
Let me go back to the slide before.
Okay, let's go back. Okay, so beliefs are what?
True and false.
True, false.
Good and,
And then
good and
values,
bad.
good and bad. Did anyone look up the word moral? Anyone ask your phone? Define moral. Okay, well, somebody look up the word moral and somebody look up the word principles for me. And then tell me what you find out. Let me know when you got it. Yeah, because we need to know if someone says, oh, that's totally unethical. What in the world does that mean? Does that mean that's totally not a system of moral principles? No. What is it? Who's got morals?
A moral, it says, concerned with the principles of right and wrong behavior and the goodness or badness of human character.
Okay, good. Good. Okay, and then what's principles?
For principle, it's a fundamental truth or proposition that serves as the foundation for a system of belief or behavior or for a chain of reasoning.
Okay, there we go. Reasoning, truth, foundation. So if we wanted to reword the definition of ethics from a systems of morals or principles, considering that systems has to do with structure or order, morals has to do with basically right or wrong, and then principles are like foundations, fundamentals, laws. What could we say ethics is? So if we took out the word systems and we said ethics is an order of, what could we replace moral with?
Right or wrong concepts.
Right or wrong concepts. Good. Let's see here. Let's go in here and just put it in. Okay, so in other words, ethics is an order. What did you say, Melvin?
Of right or wrong concepts.
Right or wrong concepts. And then what was principles? What could we say for principles? Ethics is an order of right or wrong concepts. What if we said according to what? Would you prefer to use the word laws of reasons or foundations of truth? Something like that. What do you think?
Foundations of truth.
Okay. And as Pilate says, what is truth? And probably somebody else in Shakespeare. Good. See how we did that? And you will be doing this too. We broke down this definition that we didn't understand to say, okay, here's what ethics really is. Ethics is an order of right or wrong concepts according to foundations of truth. So then if we wanted to put the idea of communication with ethics, communication is then the application of ethical thinking, right or wrong thinking to situations involving human communication or involving humans creating meaning. Does that make sense to you? Yeah, and so what I want you to understand is you're probably going to have to go back multiple times throughout this course and be like, wait a second, what is ethics? What are these things that we're studying? And review these definitions, put them into your own words so that you can understand them. Okay, so the systems of reasoning that we're going to focus on in this class are character, duties, consequences, and relationships. So I'm just going to give you a working definition for each of these right now, and then you're going to be diving deeply into them for the next 8 weeks. Okay, so this is like your primer for what in the world am I doing here in communication ethics. So character, duties, consequences, and relationships. So character, what is character? Character involves virtues in practice that serve as a guide to ethical decisions. Character is virtues in practice that serve as a guide to ethical decisions. And I think when someone read either moral or principles, the word character came out in the definition of morals. So character is inherent to that. And when we think about character, we're thinking about those virtues like honesty, truthfulness, integrity, putting those into practice that help us decide whether or not something is good or bad, right or wrong. Ethical, think right or wrong. Got it? Okay, so now let's look at duties. So when you think of the word duties, you think, okay, what is duty? It is something that we do, that we have to do. So think about your personal life right now. What are some duties that you have in your life that you must do? Anybody want to share? Think simple. What do you do in the morning after you've woken up? Yes, Melvin, obligations to raise children. I was thinking like, it's a duty to brush your teeth, right? Because that's gross. If you don't brush your teeth and you go talk to people, I'm trying to teach this to people in my household right now. Like, you have to brush your teeth. It is a duty. You must do that, right? Pay your bills. You won't have electricity if you don't pay your bills. So when we think of duties, we're thinking of a set of universal rules that are not changing. And they're based in either divine command or human nature. So for example, we all have a compass that tells us that killing people is wrong. We don't do that. That's a universal rule. We also know that lying is wrong. Although I do think if you're really crafty, you might make an argument for when it's okay to lie. So just sit on that for a moment, okay? So duties are universal rules that don't change, that are based in divine command. So think of like a higher being or human nature, just things innately that we know that we don't do. So that's duties. Now, consequences, when we think about a system of reasoning from the position of consequences, we are determining if something is ethical based on the outcome of the decision that we make. So it's the outcome of our behavior determines whether or not the action that we make is ethical or right or wrong. And you're going to spend some time in the beginning of the course looking at utilitarianism, egalitarianism, and social contracts. And these are big words that philosophers have used to describe how we think about the outcomes, whether or not they're good or bad. So I did write, so like egalitarianism would say something like, something is good or bad based on it having an equal effect on everyone. So whatever decision I make is going to have an equal effect on everybody, no matter your status in life. So that's an example of that. Okay, now finally, wrapping up is relationships. And this is where I think it gets really fun. This is where we're at in our present day. Character, duties, and consequences all funnel in. But this idea of relationships is kind of where we are in our cultural moment. And that's the idea of how relationships between individuals are affected by our communication behavior. So whether or not what we do is right or wrong, good or bad, how is that going to affect the people around me that I'm in relationship with? So that's the idea of relationships. And that's where we're going to spend some time talking about dialogical ethics. And dialogical ethics has to do with one's responsibilities to another human being that you're engaged with in a meaningful relationship. How will my communication behavior affect that person? Okay. So those are, again, these are the four main, well, I'm sorry, I've got a filter on, so now it's all blurry. But those are the four main systems of reasoning that we're going to be looking at throughout this course. So again, I can't encourage you enough to just keep going back and reviewing your definitions when you read stuff that you don't understand. And if you don't understand something, please ask me. I am in your corner. I am your biggest cheerleader. And I want to see you do well in this course, every single one of you. And you can do well because you can resubmit for mastery. Yes, you can. And you can read my feedback. So funny thing is, yes. So my name is Kimberly Ware. It's so funny. I've gotten to the end of courses and people in the reflection will say, like, I've been called Lisa before. I'm like, Okay. My name is Kim, which is cool. I mean, I guess I could be Lisa if I really wanted to, but so that's my name. Kim. Kim Ware is my name. Text messaging. I have a Lisa look. What about from this side? Sure. My parents, the other name was Amy. So I mean, I could do Amy too pretty well. Anyway, I digress. So text message. If you want to text me, do that. I am very good at responding within 24 hours. So if I don't respond to you, feel free to give me a gentle reminder. Hey, Kim, I messaged you. What do you think about that? And then my email address and then Canvas inbox. Those are all ways that you can reach me. There are no stupid questions. This material is kind of hard. So if you have questions, please reach out to me and let me help you. That's what I'm here for. Speaking of questions, anyone else have a question right now before I let you go? Yes, sir.
Could you repeat the 4 that you mentioned? It was character.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're going to know them very well by the end of the course. Character, duties, consequences, and relationships. And I'll be posting the recording of this within the next 24 hours so you can go back and review. Okay, cool. Thank you for your time. I really, really appreciate it. And I look forward to working with each of you in the course. Nice. Okay, thank you. Have a good day.